Hi everyone, Jim here of the Runners Movement. Today we're going to be discussing an exercise that's in many runners' repertoire, and that is the plank. Did you know that the world record for the plank is 8 hours, 15 minutes, and 15 seconds? Yeah, I don't know about you, but I'd be rather spending that time out on the trails of the roads, logging miles on my legs. Yeah. So what we're going to be doing with the plank today is I'm going to show you cues that I like to use for the plank, as well as different progressions of the plank as well. One of the first things we're going to go over is arm position. Many people don't think about that. They just try to hold it as long as they can. Hopefully not 8 hours though. And with the arm position, most people I see will go in the triangular position. I feel this engages too much pec and chest muscles and doesn't focus as much about shoulder girdle and core in general. So what I'll show people and do myself is we'll go in a parallel position. I find I'm able to engage my shoulder girdle muscles, both anterior and posterior, as well as better engagement throughout my core. So that's just one of the cues that I'll be showing when we go over the exercises. I'll also be going from the basic plank, and then we're going to be going through plank march, plank reaches, a four-corner plank, rotary planks, side plank with a hip hinge as well. So I encourage you to check me out just over here, and we're going to be going over that in just a few seconds. See you in a moment. So here we go with the plank exercises. We're going to start with the basic plank and go from there. So again, some of the cueing that I like to show people and do myself is first off the arm position. Instead of the triangular one, we're going to go parallel, forearms parallel. The other thing I like to cue is right here you have these hip bones on the front of your hips. These are the anterior superior iliac spines, your ASIS. From here, I draw a line across and I engage myself, or I encourage others to engage the muscles in there. This will prevent any sag when you're trying to perform the plank. Otherwise, toes tucked under, knees straight. So let's go over the basic plank. Here we go. So forearms parallel, knees straight, engaged, working on the core, bracing through my hips, and that's it. So I'll do this 10-second holds, 2 to 3 sets of 10, instead of doing that 8-hour world record. Many people you'll see do for a minute, 2 minutes. That's okay, but my goal is to stabilize in order to mobilize. So this is the next progression, is we're going to be doing a marching sequence with the plank. So when we're marching, we're going to be using the legs, and as I'm raising one leg, I want to push back into the ground with the other. So here we go. So we'll be in the plank position. As I'm pushing down with one leg, I'm going to engage my glute and raise the other, and then alternate. And I'm going to go slow and controlled. Again, stabilize to mobilize. The next variation I go from there is a reach. So now I'm engaging core and working my arms again from the parallel position. So we're going to go back into the basic plank. And here we are. And now I'm going to stabilize, reach, stabilize, reach, stabilize, reach, stabilize, reach. You'll notice you may get more sway with this, and that's the goal of the plank, is to limit how much hip sway you get. You really want to try to stabilize in order to mobilize. The next exercise we're going to do is we're going to combine the reaches with the leg marches. So I call it the four-corner plank. So here we go. So what we're going to be doing, get your basic plank position, and you're going to go all four corners. So I'm going to reach, reach, leg raise, reach, reach, leg raise, and then you go backwards with it. Leg raise, reach, reach. So that's my four corner plank. The next one is pretty simple. What we're going to be doing is in a plank position, we're going to go into a row. So we're going to be in a plank, and all we're going to do is push up to our arms straight, and we're going to row, 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 row. Again, limiting any hip sway so that way we can stabilize in order to mobilize. The next exercise we're going to work through is a side plank with a hip hinge. What I find with many runners is the lack of mobility in the hips. And what we're going to be doing here is working on that hip hinge and also working side stabilizers and core stability. So we're going to tuck feet behind, hips behind, and we're pushing through knees and elbows. And I'm going to push through, hold 10 seconds, and then we'd sit back. Now, of course, that was only a few seconds, but you can hold a full 10 and continue on. 10 seconds, and then sit back out of it. We're working that hip hinge, pushing through and sitting back. So especially the distance runners like myself, I really want to be able to engage and work those hips through that full range, especially this extension position, okay? So this is the side plank hip hinge. The next one, going off the normal plank, I call it a rotary plank. We're working the plank in many different planes, okay? So we're going to be starting with the basic plank. Brace everything. Tuck at your ASIS, your hips. And all you're going to be doing is let everything move together. And you notice my feet aren't stacked. They're in a staggered position. So we're going to come back, check a look at my feet. We're going to rotate, and I'm on a staggered position and come back. So I like to do this in both planes. Here. One thing to look for is hips moving before everything else does. So ideally, you want to have everything move together. So again, stabilize to mobilize. So we're going to brace, move, control, move, and back. What we wouldn't want to do is throw our hips, then come up. See the difference? We're stabilizing and opening up, as opposed to throwing and coming open. So I hope you enjoyed this little plank series, and I hope you can work on these and put them into your own exercise. Again, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me, Jim@therunnersmovement.com, or you can check me out on Facebook.